What's up, guys? Welcome to Behind the Grind. I go by Trip B. I've been rocking with Grind Mode Cypher for over 10 years now, with 30 ciphers under my belt. I've had the opportunity to work with artists such as Chris Webby, Daylight, Apathy, Blind Fury, Slain, Ren Thomas, just to name a few. These opportunities through Grind Mode Cypher have me approaching 2.1 million views and countless memories I will never forget. This is my homie and fellow Barrio brother, co-host of Behind the Grind, Johnny Conceptz. Johnny's been featured in over 10 Grind Mode Cyphers, including Chris Webby Part 2 and Rex. Johnny's approaching 750,000 views on this platform. We are your hosts of Behind the Grind. Guys, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the Grind Mode Cypher channel. Hope you enjoy. Also, be on the lookout for me and Johnny Conceptz EP, Super Barrio Brothers, coming soon.
See this East Coast beast flowing each OMC's whole touchdown in West Palm, looking for the trees so that I can reach beast mode and feast on the weak souls. Let your peeps know how far my beat killing streak goes. Traffic and state lines, you heard it through the grapevine. Eating every beat that they can find like they taste fine. Murder verses, I'm a surgeon on the baseline. With precision incisions, I'm vicious with these straight lines. I hate to waste time.
Grind Mode Cypher. Secret sessions.
They brought me to the Bronx, so you know it's a problem. Through the beats in the cauldron and nobody stopped him. The next few series too, I'm already locked in. And been an ill mind, full long before hops. And we are not in competition. In fact, you are not shit. Watch me go first in the draft you got mocked in. And I don't need nobody else to give me my props, since I'm confident I'm out rapping 10 of their top 10. Large in the streets, going hard on the beats for MD. I'm giving on this work indeed. You're basically incapable of murking them beats. And me, my mentality is murder MCs. I kill so many rappers on wax, I should open a museum and call that shit nobody could beat them. Exhibit A, Your Honor, clearly shows you that it's doper than the needle. So enclosure, such a flow should be illegal.
All right, let's get it.
And welcome to Behind the Grind, where we peel back the curtain on your favorite Grind Mode affiliates. I'm Johnny Conceptz.
I'm your boy Trip B. Guys, make sure to please like, comment, subscribe. Go check out our Facebook page, Behind the Grind. Today on Volume 10, we got the homie straight from Maryland. This man's name is Knowledge. What up, Knowledge?
What up, what up? Appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for coming.
Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, facts. So I just met Knowledge for the first time a week ago up in the Bronx in New York, man. It was a pleasure. We got to spit on the same cipher together for the first time, Secret Sessions Volume 20. And yeah, man, you really laid it down, opened that shit up nice. That was dope.
Yeah, man, your verse was official and everybody else came with it on that. The beat, I was feeling the beat, man.
I think it's doing very well, like numbers-wise, too. So, like, I think everyone came with it. So, definitely great cipher to you guys. Good shit.
Yeah, and it's refreshing to have the trips again, man. Like going like just places, you know what I'm saying? I travel as many of them as I can go to where everybody goes and just linking up, like getting to chill with people that we've been in the chat back and forth and we've seen each other on different cipher series and stuff. It's good to like link with everybody. So I'm just glad that COVID's really allowing at least some sessions that are like, especially driving distance for me.
Absolutely.
Facts. Yeah, man. The Oklahoma and Dallas trip coming up. You gonna make it out?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'll be seeing you out there. That's what's up, man. All right, Knowledge, let's get into it a little bit. Obviously, we just introduced you. Why don't you tell the people where you're representing and where you're from a little bit?
So I'm from Maryland. I lived between Maryland and Pennsylvania before, but Maryland, the majority of my life, and especially like teenage years and up. I lived in Montgomery County and Frederick County, Maryland. Both are like closer to DC than Baltimore. A lot of people who hear Maryland, they automatically assume Baltimore because it's kind of like the biggest city that everybody recognizes. But DC butts right up against Maryland, so it's literally closer to DC. Most of the time when we're out of town on the West Coast or something and you're explaining where you're from, when you say Maryland, you kind of get like the eye, like Maryland, you know, like DC, you know, like right by DC. And they're like, oh, okay, DC. It's like everybody knows where that's at. So the majority majority of the time that I've been rapping and shit, like the area is so small, DC, Maryland, and Northern Virginia kind of clicks together the way New England does. And they call it the DMV for DC, Maryland, Virginia. So even though I'm from Maryland, we rep the DMV. We try to like kind of rep it as a whole. And we tend to do shows in that circle in the metropolitan area.
That's what's up, man. Shout out to 410. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with this small town, but I was actually born in Maryland. I didn't spend much time out there. My family moved when I was about 1 or 2 years old. But I was born in a town called Leonardtown, Maryland. Does that ring a bell? Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, I know kind of where it is because I do real estate. So.
Oh, that's what's up. Oh, cool. That's cool.
Oh, that's a cool thing to know.
Yeah, right.
Real estate.
That's a nice little pop in.
Let's talk a little bit about like your origins with hip hop. Like, how'd you get started?
So to be honest, like growing up when I was younger, I was more exposed to rock than I was hip hop. So my dad was a drummer in a rock band, and they did like cover shows and shit like this. And I just went to a lot of jam sessions where like, you know, people had whole band shit set up in garages, sheds, basements or whatever. So I was around music a lot. But then, you know, around like the mid 90s, 94, 95, 96, I was exposed a little bit more to like Tupac and Nas. Before that, it was like a lot of Cypress Hill, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, whatever was kind of like on MTV. I don't know. I just really clicked in with the Nas and the Tupac era and like what they were saying. And I always like thought it was dope how the lyricists put the lyrics on rock music. But then when I saw like hip hop, it seemed like you didn't really need the whole band. Growing up, I saw how tough it was for my dad to have any kind of consistency with a band. So for hip hop, it looked like you could just take control of your own shit and you could just find the beats that you wanted. And then you could just put your own project together. I don't know about you guys, but I know for myself, I've been in and out of like 3-4 different groups of artists that I rapped with. I just think that's kind of what like brought me into hip hop. I always loved music. I still love rock, but I loved older rock music, metal music. And then with that, like hip hop, I really liked the golden era of hip hop that was about what you were saying, like a lot more than it was the beat. Like the beat to be tight, but not to carry you. But shout out to producers. I feel like producers have evolved to the point where they pretty much run the whole song. The lyricist is becoming like an ad lib to the producer now.
That's definitely very, very dope. I'm sorry to interrupt you there. But is that also like where kind of like the name Knowledge came from? It's just like wanting to like put that knowledge on record and.
It was funny because like right around the time whenever I started like writing a little bit was mainly because friends of mine were freestyling a lot. So it was the era where everybody was getting like Napster and LimeWire and all this shit, and they would just download any instrumental they could think of. So you just type in instrumental and just download them all. And then, you know, people would be throwing parties and you would just be, you know, putting as many instrumentals on. And I wasn't really ballsy enough to really like freestyle. I was like, I knew that my brain was trying to think too much about what it wanted to say to be able to like say it before I thought it out. So eventually I started writing. It was funny because around that time also Belly came out, and the name Knowledge is actually in the movie Belly. People around me started kind of calling me that just because like they always said, oh, you got a big head and like you're always thinking about this and that and thinking of different ways to get money and thinking of, you know, so they always were calling me like my name's Blaine, but they would call me the Brain. And then they kind of just, they started calling me Knowledge. You know, when I started doing music, I never thought like I would be on a streaming platform or people like, you know, that I would be trying to like have my CD scanned in a store or something. So I never tried to think out like a really original name. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even change the spelling of it. I didn't do anything like that most artists do for their brand, which is unfortunate because it took me until like the end of last year to start like separating my Knowledge albums and shit like that from every other Knowledge on Spotify, on iTunes, on YouTube. So I'm finally getting to that point where all my stuff is like verified on its own and my work has been pulled out of their discographies and put into my own. So it was a tight name and it was cool the way that it originated, but it kind of like branded and stuck so much that it was a downfall for a little bit because when people search it, they're not going to find me. that it's such a common word. Even if you type like knowledge and hip hop, it brings up a whole bunch of KRS-One stuff. So as me and my boy started moving forward, like with more duo projects, we branded it as Rebels Advocate, and the spelling and everything is like specific. So when you type that in, it's the only one that comes up, and it helps direct you to our stuff. So if people find it hard to find knowledge, I think more often I'm going to start to have people introduce me as knowledge of Rebels Advocate.
That's dope. So yeah, that's something I was going to mention too, the name Rebels Advocate. Now is this a duo?
So that's a duo project. A couple years back, like maybe around like 2010, 11, 12, is a bunch of like Cypher. It was before I had ever heard of like grind mode Cypher. So somebody in our area reached out, and his name's Trust real dope artist from Maryland who lives in LA now. And he reached out to like a bunch of cats in the area who he thought were lyrical, and did kind of like more like a grind mode type of thing. We did like, I think it was like 13 people, and we did like 8 bars each, and it turned into a project where we were like, let's do a couple more songs together. So it ended up being called the Coalition 301 project, and it worked really good. But again, it was one of those things where like this person might have had a kid, this person had family issues, this person had a job that came first, and then some people didn't want it to overshadow their own solo art. So it kind of fell apart, and me and one of the like people that I became the closest with in that group, LJ Heiss, we ended up still wanting to do some music together. So, and after we got through a couple of them, and we realized, you know what, we have a chemistry, and other people recognize the chemistry on tracks and like compliment about how we complement each other's style. So the Rebels Advocate, at the time, he was wearing the like anonymous mask at a lot of shows when we went and performed, and it had like lines under the eyes like a football player and shit. Like he doctored it up a little bit, and then sometimes I would come out with the gas mask on. So we had somebody make the logo half gas mask, half anonymous mask to represent like the characters that we were coming out as for the beginning. You know, Rebels Advocate, because we were kind of like not playing devil's advocate, but more playing like the stuff you do that gets you banned on like Facebook, like trying to put that in people's ear and play advocate to them being rebellious over the, you know, what they're being brainwashed with. Like me and him are on every one of those songs. And then here and there we have artists that we've worked with prior on with the Coalition, or like Mischief that I grew up with, who's also a grind mode on tons of ciphers. So there's plenty of people that we work with on those projects, but every song is at least the two of us on them. So
that's really dope, and I think that's really cool to hear, like the evolution that like your group, like your duo has gone through, and like the changes that you've gone through. I think that's really dope to see. I see that logo right in the back there too, so I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, this logo right here, the one on this grind mode shirt, is actually the one right there where it's half V for Vendetta, and then this side is a gas mask. And we got those on the grind mode shirts from Lingo. Yes, you know, the like background member who never gets spoke of Rebels Advocate is DJ KP, Go KP Beats. He's the guy who like mixes and masters us, does all the graphics, made the logo. He comes up with, you know, the majority of our artwork, mixes the videos. He's like a one-man band. We call him the Wizard. And he's just kind of like behind the scenes. We always say the Wizard of Oz because he's like hiding in the back. He doesn't want any credit for shit, but he's really the meat and potatoes of the entire operation. Without him, you know, it's like grind mode without Lingo. It's like, it's wild.
So shout out to the people like that, the engineers in the background that ever get no love. Shout out to them. So perfect segue. You said you were doing you did the Maryland Coalition thing. So how did you get in touch with grind mode and Lingo?
It's funny. Like Mischief, the Rebel, who is on a million grind mode ciphers out of Pennsylvania. I said, you know, earlier, I did live in Pennsylvania for 5 years. I lived there and became real tight with Mischief. We lived in the same neighborhood. It was crazy because his parents moved away like a year before I got locked up in boot camp. And then I moved to Maryland when I got out of boot camp at 15. And back then there was no MySpace, there was no Facebook or whatever. Like when you moved away from a friend back in those days and you were young, like you had no way of getting in touch with them no more. You know what I'm saying?
Came pen pals.
It was over.
To a million people, you know, like on some Unsolved Mysteries shit, you know, like 7 years ago or something like that. We reconnected on Facebook through mutual friends who went to school with each other, like in Pennsylvania. And then so we got in touch and then found out, oh shit, we both do underground hip hop. Oh shit, like we're both on the same kind of level with what we're talking about and shit. And it's crazy because we haven't seen each other for 15, 20 years or something crazy, you know? Yeah, he told me, hey, I got a show opportunity in Harrisburg with this cat Windchill, and you got to come meet him. And so I went and met Windchill, who's a Grind Mode affiliate, and I met there. He was telling me ahead of time before the show it was a Pennsylvania Volume 2 show or whatever, and he was like, Grind Mode's gonna be there, you got to look them up and see how they work and all this shit. And you know, Windchill's gonna help you submit your music to Lingo so that they can get us on the Grind Mode Cypher. So it was really Mischief through Windchill who connected me with them, and I wasn't really sure what to expect. And then that day they sent out the songs, and we, you know, I kind of heard everybody else on the beat and stuff and saw how it was. And to be honest, the show was one of the dopest shows that I've been to. Ren Thomas and some cats from LA and from Denver. I mean, it was like a show where it was like every single artist who was there came from like different regions of the country to perform. And it was just a hip hop vibe, and it was great. And it was my first experience with that. So, you know, it was dope as shit for me, and to see how it worked and everything like that there. And then to also go and do some outdoors and see how they work, like anywhere, like it doesn't matter where it's at. But my first experience was at a show, and there was a big crowd there, and it was dope to see.
Facts. How many ciphers you got under your belt now?
17. Wow. And then I have 3 more coming up between Dallas and Oklahoma, so I'll be at 20 after that trip.
Facts, man. Yeah, you're catching up. I'm gonna have to hit up Lingo, man. I only got 2 beats set to me for the Oklahoma Dallas trip. So, Mr. Fletcher, if you're paying attention, man, my inbox is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so you can slide a beat in there if you need to, brother.
There it is.
Yo, knowledge, man. All right, so now that you've got 17 ciphers under your belt, I'm sure you've gotten familiar with a few artists and whatnot. Who are some artists, whether you've been on ciphers with them or not, that you can see yourself working with on a song outside of Grind Mode Cypher someday?
The first people that I noticed, and I was, you know, it was tight. I was blessed to be on a cipher with him, my first cipher, but he's not on ciphers as much anymore as Big G's. The people that that I would go with in this section is because of how I think my style meshes with them. I think that his delivery is raw, and his content raw and rugged, and the way he attacks the beat is similar to the way that I approach the beat. So that was one of the first people that stuck out to me. Another person that stuck out to me that I haven't worked with yet, I'm sure it will be pretty soon, is AOK. He's actually on the first cipher too that I'm on. So me, AOK, Big G's. So they stuck out to me in the beginning. A couple ciphers later, Indicut from Duck City. Definitely somebody that I think our styles will go really good together, and he has a unique sound. You know, everybody has cipher presence that's on the ciphers, but some flows and voices have their own personality off cipher, like without the visual. So Blind Fury, I'm kind of blown that I missed the Blind Fury ciphers. I'm hoping that if there's another Blind Fury cipher that comes around, that I get to be a part of that. That's just really dope all around. And then aside from them, I don't know if he's ever going to do any ciphers again or what the deal is, but Flawless stuck out to me a lot on the early ciphers.
Those are a top-notch 5 right there, man. Yeah.
Like always, we always try to get it brewing. So if any of those artists that are watching right now, hit up Knowledge. Let's get this going.
Hit up Knowledge. Let's get some collabos going, man. Let's go.
Tell us about your weirdest performance experience.
I remember the first thing that sticks in my head, and it might not be the weirdest, but it was just one of them things. One time we were performing a nice show at a spot that we performed all the time. We had like a regular crowd there. There was a really drunk, like crackhead chick in the And she was like an old head that was really out of place. And she was coming right up to the front of the stage there. And she was trying to reach up and grab motherfuckers like pants and their junk. And we were like, yo, like, is anybody going to get her out of here? No, everybody thought it was funny.
You know, someone got too drunk that night and ended up hitting it.
Yeah, right? Somebody took that home. Somebody was like, this is easy money right here. Yeah, well, I had a show one time where I think the security actually did ask the kid to leave eventually. He came up to the stage, was like very hyped, and of course, as an artist on stage, you appreciate anyone being hyped, right? He just wants some daps, and so he's reaching up to you on the stage, you slide down, you dap him up. One time was not good enough for this man. 2 seconds go by, he wants more daps now. Now he needs more daps. All right, the second time, all right, man. You know, I dap him up again the second time. This motherfucker, the whole 15, 20-minute set, bro, is just standing there, just wanting daps the whole fucking time. And it was super awkward. Oh, man, good times. Good times. Oh,
There's always one.
All right, Knowledge Man. So if you had a choice to pick of 5 artists from any genre of music, doesn't have to be hip-hop, that you could build like a dream track or a dream album with, producers, whoever may be, who would these 5 be?
Yeah, I saw that you asked people this question before, so I started thinking about this like a while before. Some of the people that I thought, like, the first person that came to mind is like Tupac. And I think that becomes from it not being possible at this point. You know what I'm saying? Probably selfish just because I would want to hear what more Tupac stuff would sound like. Regardless if it was with me, I would kind of give up one of the spots just so that not only to work with them, but just so I could hear some more like fresh shit from him. Immortal Technique is another person. I think it was somebody who influenced me, not as much musically, but influenced me to like not be ashamed to like incorporate more of what you're thinking into your music. Whether it's accepted or whether it's like something that's like just mainstream acceptable or whatever. Like that was somebody who I feel like the more I listened to his music, the more that it made me cool with saying whatever I wanted to say on the track and kind of like doing it more for me than for anybody else. And then, you know, it made me feel like if you could kick a dead horse a million times trying to tell it some message or whatever, and you're not getting through a thick head. But if you put it on a beat and it sounds cool the way you said it, then these people are showing it to somebody else because they're like, oh, listen to how this is said. And then just accidentally, organically, your message is being spread without you having to shove it down people's throats. And Scarface was just somebody that I felt like meshed and had a vicious message. Somebody who I actually was, you know, blessed to share the stage and do a show with. But I know that he's kind of like stepped away from music. Big Pun is another one. I think, you know, didn't hear enough of his stuff, but the syllable rap that he did and the way that he like pushed the limits on how much I like to put a lot of syllables in the music that I make, kind of be greedy and fill up all the bars. So I feel like he was a rapper like that like if you gave him a 16, he was going to put as many words in that as he could and still make it sound tight, still make it not sound like filler, still make it all rhyme. And then I knew that I have a big rock influence, but it's when you get a certain depth into hip hop, it's a little bit harder to figure out which one you would mesh the best with. Like maybe if you're a hip hop artist, but you wanted to work with rock artists, I was thinking Jimi Hendrix. There's a lot of other like rock bands that I would love to work with, but if it's just one person, like Jimi Hendrix, I think he was able to do so much on his own that that me and him could create, just the two of us. So I think in his music and his guitar skills and everything are ridiculous. So that would be my 5: Tupac, Immortal Technique, Scarface, Big Pun, and Jimi Hendrix. It's probably a weird mesh, but I think it would come out with some awesome shit.
Wow, man, that's quite a 5 right there, bro.
I really like that Jimi Hendrix shout out. On the Behind the Grinds, we've had some like different ones, but I really like the Jimi Hendrix one. That's really dope.
Yeah, Jimmy's a good one. We haven't had Immortal Technique yet. I really appreciated what you said about the fact that Immortal Technique, not so much musically, it was more of like a and okay for me to say what I'm thinking, and that there is a fan base and a reach that I can have saying these type of things that I want to say. And an artist like Immortal Technique made you realize that there was a lane for that type of shit, and that's where you fit in.
Before that, I'll be honest, I just kind of thought that rap music and those conspiracy topics were two different forms of expression. And then I realized that they could be combined very fluidly with this is what I thought was that I always felt like Immortal Technique didn't care much about polishing his flow much because he was way more worried about what he was saying. For me, I was just kind of like, let me incorporate the things I know that I feel like people should hear, along with some things that sonically sound good with a polished flow on the beat. And I just figured that kind of would be a good meld of like everything like right in the middle.
That's dope.
Facts. Oh man.
You know what that sound means?
I think I know what that means.
It's time for Rapid Fire, sponsored by Brawlers in Clothing. I did it again. Clothing. Sponsored by Brawlers in Clothing.
Clothing?
I keep saying Clothing.
Who makes clothing? Oh, FYI, I popped onto brothersinclothing.com earlier this past week. And Joe, if you're watching this, man, I was trying to cop myself the little XL red t-shirt with the razor blade with the brawl on it. And man, you're sold out, Joe, man. Sold out.
Time to re-up.
I was hoping we could get that re-up, Joe Brawler. But anyways, on to Rapid Fire featuring Knowledge. Johnny, hit him first.
All right, let's go with Pepsi or Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew or Sprite?
Mountain Dew.
Low lighting or bright lighting?
Low lighting, facts. Joints or blunts?
Blunts.
Fast food or sit down?
Sit down.
Facts. Best sit down restaurant?
That's hard to say. I feel like the best ones are like no-namers, to be honest.
Facts. What's the spot down in Maryland I could catch Knowledge at one day if I was trying to sit down and eat down there?
There's a couple of Italian spots in my area, Manaloo and J&P Pizza. Yeah, they make good pizza and good Italian shit. So
that's what's up. Shout out to them, man. Hell yeah. Pizza or tacos? Knowledge.
Why are you so mad?
On a Tuesday, it'd be tacos every time. On a Friday, I would probably say pizza.
I'm the only real Italian left in this world.
On the day of the week.
There you go. On a Friday pizza, I feel that. I feel that. Yeah, we just had Cinco de Mayo on a Tuesday. I fucked up some tacos, man. Woo!
There you go.
Jay-Z or DMX?
DMX all day, every day.
Okay.
Biggie or Pac? I think I know the answer to this. Yeah.
Pac, facts. DMX or Pac?
Pac. DMX may be now the closest that I would go to Pac.
I agree with that.
Just in versatility, can touch people from any walk of life. I mean, really painting their message. Yeah, I think that they're really close. Honestly, I don't put Jay-Z very high up there.
Really? Not a Jay-Z fan.
I'm not a Jay-Z.
Is that due to your deep intellectual conspiracy knowledge that you're not a Jay-Z fan, or is it strictly music?
It's just music, I guess, and then maybe like voice and content. I think there was just a lot of stuff, and I feel like there was an era and a lot of people who are involved in the era of like switching hip hop music to like materialistic, brands and stuff like that. I thought that commercialized hip hop a lot, so I didn't like that era, so I didn't like a lot of like music that came out in that era probably.
That's a good point, man. I never really looked at it like that. However, Jay definitely did commercialize hip hop. The New York Yankee hat, different brands of liquor and such definitely became staples in hip hop. The Range Rover.
I mean, he's definitely dope, like lyrically, but I just feel like the branding and stuff like really skyrocketed, and I would put him in one of my like top businessmen categories, with like a Steve Jobs or somebody like that. Like I feel like that his business mind. Same with Master P. Master P is a lot less lyrical, but more business. So I don't know, but yeah, I would definitely take like DMX over Jay.
To be on the businessman tip, let's go with Steve Jobs or Bill Gates.
Well, I have to go with Steve Jobs because Bill Gates stole most of it from him.
Suge Knight or P. Diddy.
Damn. I mean, I don't condone the way that either of them are, but I think that like Suge Knight did it in a little bit better style. I don't know, that it just seemed like a little bit more mafia and like appealing and like cool for like rap, I guess, and then the people that they signed on their label definitely matched that. Whereas like Bad Boy was a lot more like flashy suits and sampling music from like the 80s, and it was a good angle and a good direction, but it wasn't my preference. I preferred, the Murder Was the Case, All Eyes on Me and shit like that was coming out of Death Row. I mean, even Lady of Rage, the Warren G, I have Nate Dogg. Like, I just feel like everything over there was just like a sound that it just sounded like a movie.
So you were West Coast on the East versus West beef?
Not on the beef.
No.
Well, that happens. I guess that happens.
I guess, huh?
But I supported more of their music, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Ice Cube, West Side Connection, a whole bunch of stuff that was out back then, the Dog Pound and stuff. I mean, there was good New York artists too, and I think that people, Nas, I think held his own. I mean, he was just as good by himself, and then Cormega and the rest of the firm, and there was a lot of people who were lyrical too, but that just, I don't know. I think Dre helped as part of the reason he made the sound for the West Coast just. Like
facts in his studio.
I like you, bro. You know your history.
Like they had like a cheat code almost.
Yeah.
At the time, they were like, "Hey, Dre, just make us some beats."
That's what I was gonna say. I don't think Dre ever touched anything that wasn't successful. I'm not sure. Maybe there might be an artist in there or two from back in the day. But all right, Knowledge, man, you got a chance to open for somebody in front of 1,000 people, or you can sell out a smaller venue of 300 people just for Knowledge. Which show would you be more interested in performing?
I'd rather do the show of everybody's there for me. Just because I've done those similar shows before where you're opening for a big artist, and for me, I always try to think, if you open for a big artist and that artist is similar to you, maybe you talk about the same things or you have a similar style, or like you would be accepted by the same crowd, then maybe you can ring in some of their fans by accident as your own because they were there to see them, but they saw you. It rarely happens like that. You don't usually, the people who are there for the main event, a lot of times are in line when you're opening up, or they're getting drinks, or they're out smoking or whatever, because you're not the person they came for. And then you almost never are seen by the person you're opening for or their management. It does happen sometimes. Some people get on like that. That's how Logic was discovered in our area. At the same place we were doing shows at, like a manager that was working with Wu-Tang at the time saw him before one of the shows, but it doesn't happen that way very often. And more often than not, they're bringing the main artist in the back real quick, doing their set and then getting their money and leaving, and they don't even know who opened for them. So, if you could get 200 or 300 people there that are just there for you, and you have a merch table set up and you're taking pictures with them and they're excited to put you on their Snapchat or their Facebooks and stuff like that, you're going to get like organic promotion that's way more worth anything that you're going to get from that show opening up for the people.
Absolutely.
That's a good point, man.
You know what that sound means?
Yeah, that's going to conclude Rapid Fire, and it's all good. Brought to you by Brawlers in Clothing. We appreciate your knowledge. All right, man, just a couple more questions. We're going to let you get on with your night. Hit them.
All right, so we're going to ask you the round table question. So you are at a restaurant. You can bring 5 people with you. Doesn't matter if they're like dead or alive, cartoon, actor, you know the deal. Who are those 5 people at that table with you?
for me, I had a lot of like loss in the family over the last couple of years. So both of my parents are passed. My brother's been passed since I was 15. He was 18, and my grandparents and stuff. So when I've heard this question before and I thought about it, there's like a ton of people, but we already did like artists that I could do work with. So, to me, it would be way more valuable to do the work with those people than to eat with them. So if I could have just a dinner together with my mom there, my dad, my brother, my grandmother, and not even worry about the fifth seat because there's so many other people that have passed or friends and family that wouldn't be able to be there, that just, I don't know, I guess leaving a musical chair for anybody else to kind of be there in spirit. But just to get them together again would be dope. And so above any celebrity or any fictional character or anything like that, I would gather my family together for the meal.
That's dope, man.
That is awesome, man. Sorry about all your losses there.
Condolences, man. Condolences, man.
But I definitely think that's the most like real, authentic answer that we've gotten.
Facts.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, man, that's what's up. Yeah, my father passed a few years ago, was my best friend in life, was my coach through many things, was my influence and motivation in life. And just losing him was a real setback. But man, to have somebody your age that's already lost so much in close situation, close family like that, that's tough, man. It's a tough road. And I'm glad you have the outlets that you have now, such as Grime Mode Cypher and Rebels Advocate and stuff, to let some of these emotions go, and instead of being all pent up and shit like that. I know it helps as a release.
Yeah.
Definitely does.
There's one thing that we wanted to talk about that we forgot to mention. So you actually won one of the Friday night showdowns, isn't that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So talk about the experience of that.
Yeah, it was dope. I missed submitting for the first one because I'm always like a procrastinator. I always think I have more time left than I do to send shit in. The one I sent for the first week, I played the second week because I missed the deadline. And yeah, it was a song called The First 48 where I just did 48 straight bars with no hook. I tend to prefer to write that way. I realized that people put hooks so that other people can like listen, and it's ear ready for people that aren't just trying to hear bars the whole time. But I like to bar the beat out. And then it has an intro and outro there from like a Ted Bundy interview, just some sinister shit that he was saying. I thought was like a little bit dope for the first 48 theme, but it was really first 48 because it was just 48 bars. And I was originally gonna use that for an intro to a project that I never put together. So it's just remained a single for a while. Sometimes something that's old to you is new to them. And then it kind of gained a newer buzz from that. And now they've changed the way the platform is so that the winners of the Friday night showdown are reposted on the Grind Mode channel. So anytime they do something like that, it's good exposure for the artist, especially, if you have a website or some way they can follow you that you funnel people back to from that large subscriber base. That's what I always tell everybody is that, the opportunity is there with Grind Mode, but you have to funnel those people back in. Like somebody likes your cipher, your verse, a bar that you said in there, something about you or merch that you're wearing or something. They want to like see right there. Where do I find you? How can I get back to where you sell your merch? And, if you're able to do that and you get a couple sales off it, you're essentially, you're traveling for free. You're paying for your ciphers. You're paying for any kind of like, meals or whatever comes with that trip. So it's just ways to recoup by giving them, ways to follow you, ways to subscribe, ways to be aware every time you drop something new. And, but yeah, I think the Friday night showdown was a dope thing because like we spoke about before, it adds a little level of competition, friendly competition where people don't feel like that they necessarily have to do like a diss track to be in competition with somebody, but that they could like have their work judged against their peers. And so I think that level of, like comparison in the grind mode, and the fact that it's not like just comparing somebody's Cypher verse against somebody else's Cypher verse, but the fact that it's highlighting actual work that you do outside of it. So, I think it was a dope experience to be on there, and it was an honor to win among the other artists and stuff that were on there.
Yeah, I was also going to mention to you that now that we have 10 episodes put together, Johnny's been putting together a little behind the grind playlist as well. And I believe every artist who's been involved up until yourself has sent 2 tracks in to be a part of the what is it, the Spotify playlist?
Yes, it's a Spotify playlist, so it's a great time to announce it. So it's got all the behind the grind
Bless you. It's all good.
But it's got all the behind the grind guests on it. Like so just if you don't mind, send us one or 2 tracks. That way I can throw it on there. And we're gonna do a lot of like cross promoting with that, and just it's another great opportunity for everyone to not only get played on a playlist, but also to line their pockets a little bit. So
Facts.
Got you. We'll do it. For sure.
So do that up. All right, man. Where can we find your music? Where can we go check out some Knowledge Hip Hop?
So Knowledge is Hip Hop is all one word. It's the easiest way to find me if you Google it, or knowledgeishiphop.com has links to all of my social media, my YouTube channel. Right now, we've been putting everything on the YouTube channel to kind of like consolidate all the music onto one platform. The reason for that is because Spotify and iTunes and everything is not allowing you to put songs that are remixes of somebody else's beat. But they do let you put videos that are songs of your stuff that you do have on streaming. So we're able to put all of that in one place and then put links to where else you can find that from there. So Knowledge is Hip Hop for my solo work, and then Rebels Advocate, RebelsAdvocate, Rebels Advocate, and that's on YouTube as well, or rebelsadvocate.com. So pretty much, you could follow Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff, Rebels Advocate. And the same thing with Knowledge is Hip Hop, except for Twitter. It's too long for Twitter, so they made me make a different name. I honestly don't even know what the name is.
Yeah, Twitter did that to me too, man. I don't like Twitter for that.
Yeah, I mean, if they would just let like 2 more letters.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, literally, I needed 2 more letters myself. Yeah. Yeah, man. Any last shout outs or anything else you want to say to the people before we let you go?
I would just say be on the lookout for new music. Make sure you subscribe on the YouTube. That's what I've been funneling all the subscribers to. There'll be new content dropping like every week or 2 on both of the YouTube channels. There's a new video dropping on the Rebels Advocate channel featuring Mischief. That'll be coming out pretty soon. Another video for Goat Shit coming out, mixed and edited by Lingo from the Jacksonville Cypher trip. And then just a shout out, Rebels Advocate, my co-part in Rebels Advocate, LJ Heist, Go KP Beats, and the Coalition, Mischief, Miss Red, Mr. 118, and the whole Grind Mode family. So everybody that I've been doing music with lately is keep grinding.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, guys, on that note, this has been episode 10 of Behind the Grind featuring Knowledge. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Find us on Facebook. Go like that page as well. And definitely make sure you're subscribing to the Grind Mode Cypher YouTube after watching this.
Go listen to that Behind the Grind playlist as well. Gonna be dropping, going live very, very soon. And with that being said, Knowledge, say peace to everybody.
Peace.
And I'm Johnny Conceptz.
I'm your boy Trip B.
And this is Behind the Grind.
Peace,
Volume
y'all.
10. Peace out.
Some people get mad at me like, yo, you're not paying attention, bro? Like, I can't even see you right now because of the fucking lights in my face, but...
You want me to put that down a
Yeah,
little bit?
we'll make it work. There you are. Hi.
I don't have my cameraman and all that, my crew like you guys do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we beat the shit out of these kids, too.
Y'all are going to be, you know what this is leading up to, right?
What's that?
One of y'all is going to be fighting Jake Paul before long.
We ain't going nowhere.
But
Where you going?
it should be about 2 more minutes, but then we'll be able to continue.
And I wake up in the morning, I got weed in my mail. It's like fucking Santa Claus, right? So it look
Yeah.
weird. So those are my 5, and then we're like, no comment at all. It's fucking, all right, so pizza or chips?
Yeah.
Fuck 'em.
John does these like funny ones. John will be like sitting watching paint dry or fucking go-karting, and you're like,
I usually go by there early on the barbecue days and like fuck around and help them set up. And then once I get into that jungle juice, bro, I'm ready to go home by like 3 o'clock in the afternoon because I'm so wrecked. 2 or 3 cups off that jungle juice. So this year, when we have it this year, I'll play it a little different.
That's what I feel like the Oklahoma thing is going to be kind of like, right?
Oh yeah, facts. Yeah, especially in Oklahoma. Yeah, not so much in Dallas, but once we get to Oklahoma, wait, that's my wife's phone number.
You got to watch them.
Facts.
Like people picture AOK as the aggressor. He has like a face like mine that just kind of like looks. We look like angry people.
Bro, if I told you AOK has murdered someone, if I was like, you see that dude over there? That guy has murdered someone with his bare fucking hands. And you were to see AOK and then he came out and rapped and shit, and you'd be like, yeah, you fucking offed somebody, man.
I'd be like, it's something in that water. Isn't that where Aaron Hernandez was when he fucking started murking everybody?
AOK's dead. He's gonna go on a murder spree out in LA, watch.
It's got all the behind the grind.
bless you.
The banner fell.
It's all good.
But
It's a rap. It's a rap, brain.
It's a wrap.
It's a rap, brain.
Hey, appreciate you guys having me on, man.
Absolutely, bro, man. And I'll be seeing you in about what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, man, it's gonna be dope out there, dog. As soon as we land.